No way you're gonna pick that up. It's easy to bag it up and toss it in the trash. Come on, it's natural. It's basically fertilizer. If you consider bacteria-laden feces fertilizer that'll wash into the storm drains and flow into our creeks and oceans. You want to swim in that? Swim in that? Swim in that?
Remember, the ocean begins on your street.
Hi, I'm Becky Davis with City TV, and welcome to Inside Santa Barbara, the city's only news magazine show. We bring you up to date on the city's most significant issues, projects, and events. After the driest consecutive 4 years on record, in May, the City Council declared a Stage 3 drought condition. Up next, City TV's Chris Bell shows us why they did it, what it means, and how it affects us all.
Managing water supply is a lot like managing your bank account. If money stops coming in, you need to get really good at conserving it, and fast. Fortunately, the city has a diverse water portfolio, so it's not like we're totally out of a job due to this unprecedented drought, to continue the metaphor. It's more like our hours have been cut, drastically.
Our surface water is very limited at this point. We've been working really hard to increase our production from groundwater, and also been securing water purchases from other areas of the state that are transported through the State Water Project. But assuming the drought continues, our groundwater levels will be declining and getting pretty low, and the ability to purchase water will be more and more uncertain.
This isn't the first time Santa Barbara has experienced a serious drought, and because of that, the city has been planning for times like these. The city has a conservative and proactive water supply plan, which outlines the water supply strategy during droughts. In fact, the water shortage contingency plan is triggered long before there are even any signs of drought to the average person.
It starts immediately when our reservoir, Kachuma in this case, stops spilling. We immediately assume we just entered an extended drought period, and so we continue to monitor our flows, and sometimes we'll get rain that basically changes the equation and resets the clock because the reservoir spilled. Obviously, in this case, we didn't get that situation, and so starting in 2011, we've been assuming we were in a drought.
And that foresight has paid off. Water conservation measures enacted since the Stage 1 drought was declared in February of 2014 have saved more than 1 billion gallons of water.
Here in Santa Barbara, water conservation is really a way of life. It's something that we're all used to. But during a drought, we were really asking our community for extraordinary conservation, so above and beyond regular efficiency. And we've been really pleased with the reaction that we're getting from the community. We've averaged about 22% so far, and we are #1 in Southern California in terms of water savings for towns of our size, and then we're also #4 in the state. So we're really pleased with the way that this community has been embracing water conservation.
But as impressive as the community's embrace of conservation has been, going forward it still won't be enough. We will still need additional supply if the drought persists.
Currently, without conservation and without desal in 2017, we're looking at up to a 60% loss in water supply, which is just catastrophic.
To help provide water for the long-term needs of our community, the City Council has given the green light to begin the process of bringing the desalination facility back online. But that will take about 18 months, and in the beginning, it will only produce about 1/3 of the water we need. To bridge the gap between supply and demand, in May, the City Council declared its highest level of drought condition, Stage 3. The Stage 3 declaration triggers additional water conservation measures and requires a 25% citywide reduction in water use. 25% is actually more than the state is asking from Santa Barbara in its drought conservation rules. However, city officials believe the higher number is necessary to ensure future supply.
As we plan for future dry years, we're really planning for no reservoir inflow and no state water. And as we look ahead, in order to decrease the amount of shortage we see, we felt it was appropriate to increase it to 25% for this year.
We're going to be constantly monitoring our supplies. If we do happen to get some rainfall this winter, we may be able to relax that, but at this point, in order to make sure that we are able to get through 2016 with adequate supplies, we are recommending, and the council has agreed to the 25% conservation target.
As part of the Stage 3 condition, the City Council adopted additional water use regulations, including restrictions on watering times.
So for Stage 3, we are continuing our Stage 2 drought regulations that many people may be familiar with. A lot of these are also statewide now, so there's a common one about making sure you have a shut-off nozzle anytime you're using a hose. Also, irrigation is limited to nighttime or early morning, and that's to reduce the amount of evaporation and the amount of water that's lost to that. So for automatic fixed sprinkler systems that have a timer, those need to come on after 6 p.m. or before 8 a.m. If you're watering by hand, that's something that we allow more time for so that you can be awake while you're watering, and that it needs to be after 4 o'clock or before 10:30 a.m.
Other water use regulations include irrigation during and within 48 hours after measurable rainfall is prohibited. Pools and spas must be covered when not in use. Drought notices that state water is served on request only are required in restaurants and other eating and drinking establishments. Hotels and motels must post a drought notice in each guest room and provide guests with the option of choosing not to have towels and linens laundered daily. Gyms, pools, and other businesses providing showers must post drought notices and promote limitation of water use. And the city itself is included in these regulations. All around town, you'll see the signs of exceptional water conservation, from empty fountains to golden turf. And just like for residences, where the biggest demand for water is the yard, the city's yard, the Parks and Recreation Department, has seriously curtailed water use, setting an example for us all.
They have really analyzed all of the water that's used at their various parks and golf courses to take a look at what's recycled water and what is potable water, and figuring out ways to limit those and really prioritizing those areas that are used for active recreation. So areas that are commonly used for sports, that's something that's been a higher priority than areas that are more for passive recreation.
With the Stage 3 declaration and water rates going up July 1st, the city expects an increase in interest from residents and businesses looking for ways to save. Fortunately, the city has a number of programs to get you there, most of them for free or at a greatly reduced cost.
One of our most popular programs is the free water checkup, and this is available to any water customer. And what we do is we send out city staff to help you evaluate how water is used on the property and how it can be more efficient. And while we're there, the city staff will also help you evaluate if you may be eligible for any rebates. One of our most popular rebates is the landscaping rebate, and that's ideal for people who are removing high water using plants such as turf or inefficient irrigation systems. The most important thing for people to remember is to give us a call before any work is done so that we can come out and do the pre-inspection.
One impediment to greater conservation, or at least the perception of its need, is all the recent talk about El Niño. Experts are predicting an El Niño this rainy season. However, that does not necessarily equate to higher precipitation. So going back to the personal finance analogy, El Niño is like a great job prospect. There's a lot of potential, but there's nothing in the bank yet.
It isn't a done deal. It doesn't mean for certain that we are going to see rainfall that's going to make a dent in this drought. The variables on really seeing measurable rainfall are all over the place. And so I caution the community to even if a strong El Niño is declared for next year, that we don't need to conserve. Certainly that would be a very bad idea.
To be prudent, the city has to plan for continued drought until water begins to spill over Bradbury Dam. In the meantime, we all need to do our part to help manage the water left in the bank, and the only way we can do that is through conservation.
Even as we talk about reactivating the desal plant, conservation is still going to be critical. There is no way we can get through this drought without a community conservation. It is our cheapest source of supply. We see it as a supply. The act of not using water frees up water. So the use of more water only means we have to pursue more expensive and costly sources, which is only going to drive rates up even more.
For more information on Stage 3 drought regulations, rebates, or reporting water waste, visit santabarbaraca.gov/water or call 564-5460. Are you passionate about certain city issues? Do you want to get involved inside your community? Up next, we'll tell you how you can make a difference.
And it's been around 6 years now that I've been getting involved in the community.
Santa Barbara is a highly active community filled with residents who'd rather get involved than stand on the sidelines. That's why the city's boards and commissions, citizen groups that advise City Council, have always played an important role in shaping the city's future.
We have over 35 boards and commissions serving and representing the city, which is more than pretty much any city of our size. And so we really value the volunteers and citizen input into our city process, and we have a rich tradition and history of embracing that.
That tradition continues today as community members on boards and commissions participate in a meaningful way, advising City Council on a wide range of subjects. No matter what passion you possess, there's an advisory group that can use your help.
Pick something you're interested in. Is it parks and recreation? Is it design review? Is it looking at the airport or the waterfront or water itself? There's so many different opportunities here, and really to delve into how your interest and local government intersect, how to then engage the community with what goes on at City Hall. That's really what makes us reach the best potential we possibly can as a city.
Mayor Schneider knows firsthand how rewarding recognizing that potential can be. Before she ever became a part of City Council, she served on the city's Housing Authority Commission. The perspective she gained there still influences her work today.
So it was a great way for me to learn about municipal government. It was a great way to learn about issues related to poverty, to family issues, a whole variety of issues, and how housing is just such a natural and major component of everyday life.
Mayor Schneider is among many Santa Barbara residents that enjoy the rewards of serving on a board or commission.
I'd partnered with the city before on different projects, but through a work capacity, and so it's been a little different being a citizen and involved in the advisory committee, and it's a great avenue and way for people to be a little bit more involved with our local government and to kind of be that nexus between the community and local citizens and the city staff who are then advising the city council.
Points of view that are made regardless of the differences.
I definitely feel pretty honored to be part of the process and actually be involved with some of the new guidelines that we'll be working on, and just being part of seeing what people are looking to do here and being able to directly interact with them and be part of kind of the evolution of where the city is going.
Civic engagement isn't just for adult residents either. Santa Barbara's Youth Council gives junior high and high school students an opportunity to influence local issues at a young age.
So I think when you volunteer in your community, you learn about more people, diversity, and in my opinion, diversity is one of the most important things that you have to learn about your community, because that way you can know who you are, where you are, what your community is, and how you can navigate through that in a proper manner.
We do a lot of reach out to the community, and we put on events, and we get teens involved, and we make sure the youth's voice is heard, and I think that's a really big deal in our community. It's a really big deal anywhere, to be honest, just to make sure the city council and everyone knows what the youth is thinking about a certain topic and how we react to, whether it be e-cigarettes or bullying or teen rights. It could honestly be anything, but I mean, the youth are the future, so.
I've gained a lot of experience with public speaking. That's a huge thing. And then also just that kids my age can actually make a difference. And a lot of times we think that, we're powerless until we're adults, but Youth Council has really shown me that we can make a difference at our age, and it's not hard. You just need to, get involved in something important and, go full throttle with it.
If you're ready to get involved on a city advisory committee, the application process is simple.
It was nice to know that the opportunity is there for someone like myself. If you really wanted to apply to any of the boards, you can, and it's sort of an equal opportunity.
Well, the application process is pretty simple, and I would encourage folks that are looking to get involved with advisory committees or boards to find a board or a committee that aligns with their passion and the time commitment isn't too bad. And it's just a great way to take that next step and be a little more involved in the community and to give back with your time and your input.
There's so many boards, commissions, and committees that there's something for everybody. There's two important things, I think, and that is, one, that you have an interest in something, and two, that you be yourself. You know, I would caution people, you don't have to be a subject matter expert in something, you can just be a regular person, as long as your interest matches what you're trying to do, and you have a willingness to have an opinion and be yourself and bring that to the position.
If you'd like to get involved in an advisory committee, visit their webpage at santabarbaraca.gov/applications.
Some things are just plain simple, like flying in and out of Santa Barbara Airport. With 5 major airlines offering non-stop flights and one-stop connections to anywhere in the world, it's easy come, easy go. Enjoy casual and fine dining, or shop and get some work done while you wait. It's everything a big city airport can offer, in the comfort of your own backyard. Santa Barbara Airport. Easy come, easy go.
Welcome back. You may remember in our last episode we explored what happens when a main break occurs. Up next, we'll dig deeper into the water system to learn about a city program that serves to fix the problem before it begins. Potable water gushing down a city street is never a good sight, but main breaks are an unfortunate reality that all municipalities must deal with. Here in Santa Barbara, the city is working hard to prevent as many of these breaks from happening as possible.
When council set the goal to do 1% of water main replacement per year, that would equate to roughly 3 miles of water main that we can replace each year. We would prioritize areas based on what the main break history is and the overall need for the main to be replaced in that area. And the water distribution crews are in charge of helping with the shutdowns, the tie-ins, and any troubleshooting as the main replacement goes along.
Unlike other city infrastructure, there are certain challenges that come with water main maintenance.
Just like anyone that has to manage buried infrastructure, inspection is a huge challenge. You can't just go up to the piece of pipe and see what sort of condition it's in. And interestingly, you don't also know, just because one section of pipe has broken, that that entire section of water main is actually bad. We've had situations where you dig up a break and that area of pipe is pitted and corroded, and then 20 feet further down, the pipe is fine. So the challenge really lies in figuring out where are you going to get the most return on the investment of which areas should be prioritized in order for replacement.
Although main breaks are almost impossible to predict, understanding their cause helps with emergency response planning by anticipating when to have the most resources available.
What happens in the wintertime, we get the cold and the heat fluctuation, and you couple that with the pressure changes. Most of the breaks occur at nighttime, so it gets cold, the pressure goes up because the demand's not happening on the system, and any weak link in a pipe, and it's a mess.
As part of the water main replacement program, the city has a detailed strategy that helps determine which mains should have highest priority for replacement based on their likelihood of failure.
I'm happy to say that we're actually working on a new tool, a pipe risk screening tool. It's an Excel database, and that will be joined with our water GIS data on water mains. And each section of pipe will have a weighted criteria. And the criteria includes things such as the pipe's material, the pipe's age,
the break history, the cost to replace it, and the service criticality. And so the service criticality means how many customers are affected if that particular section of pipe is out of service. And all of these different criteria will be put into this database to calculate an overall likelihood of risk and the consequence of these risks. So we're going to use these rankings to determine which sections of pipe are most important for replacement.
In November of last year, this section of Yananali Street experienced a main break that sent thousands of gallons of water throughout the funk zone, making this area a priority for replacement.
This is a water main replacement, about 500 feet. We're replacing an old 8-inch cast iron pipe that was blowing out last year and flooded the people across the street and made a mess and wasted water. So the first night we did a tie-in down here on Santa Barbara Street, and so we dropped in a T with 3 new valves and tied in with couplings, and out of one of the valves we put an end cap with a riser that we could feed these people with. So that isolated the old main, and it's just a matter of digging it up and putting a new one in.
Because of the nature of the area, city crews went out of their way to ensure nearby businesses would not be impacted. The construction schedule was modified to prevent critical midday deliveries from being interrupted, and street signs were posted to notify the public that the affected establishments remained open.
Usually we would post during the day because residential people are usually off at work, or we can talk to them about the disruption. But being here with the wineries and a lot of foot traffic coming down here, the bakery, Shaloub, they got to have their water during the day. So we're going to be down here at 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning to do this work. It requires shutting the old main off in this whole area in order to be able to isolate these areas.
Making sure the water quality remains unaffected during the replacement is also a major priority. To do this, the city follows regulations regarding sampling that must occur twice over a 2-day period. This ensures the water is thoroughly tested and verifies that it hasn't been contaminated or polluted before coming back online.
The main goal is to minimize service disruptions, and one message we'd like to send to our customers is if you are in an area where a water main is being replaced, to please have patience with us. It may be a temporary disruption for you, but the long-term goal is for you to have good reliability and service for 50, 100, 200 years, hopefully.
For more information about the water main replacement program, visit santabarbaraca.gov/water. The Santa Barbara Public Library is a special place where the community gets a chance to build a love for reading. Now, thanks to the hard work of many, one area of the library has been transformed from a cramped and dark space to one of light and imagination. City TV's Yara Cassis has the story.
For a very long time, we've known that the Children's Library was inadequate. It was really inadequate when it was built.
It was dark. There was no ability to do more programs. There was more demand than there was space, and there were more children who wanted services than we could provide. And so we just needed the space. The fact that that whole entire floor was made available to the Children's Library is extraordinary, and what a wonderful stroke of good fortune that we had so many people who came together to make that happen.
This past February, the Children's Library began a journey from the dark and cramped space it once occupied on the main floor to a much larger space downstairs. The new Children's Library has a more efficient layout that allows for expanded programming just for kids.
We've done this amazing new amount of programming in the last couple of years. We actually took shelves out in this area so we could serve homework help, and every day after school, every single chair here is full and there's people sitting on the floor because there's nowhere to sit. So the really exciting thing about the new space is that we will have just more space for families to relax and read and choose books.
The $3.6 million renovation has created a whimsical and stimulating space in which kids are encouraged to explore and imagine. Children can choose and enjoy quiet reading nooks, a colorful storytime room, or a forward-looking technology hub.
It provides a wonderful quiet space where children can come and have their first taste of being on their own and still being in a safe place.
We just provide the space for kids to explore and learn. It's really a safe and accessible environment for them really to explore the world and to learn to be the person they want to be.
But the benefits of the new children's library will extend beyond kids. Due to the expansion downstairs, the main floor will have new and improved study and tutor rooms, a new teen area, and expanded technology centers.
The library serves a wide range of our community. So for a lot of people coming in to learn how to use the computers for the first time is a real important service that the library provides. We have one-on-one computer coaching every single day of the week, 4 hours a day. So there's that end, and there's also the end where we're really trying to add to our collections, offer new types of formats such as ebooks and audiobooks that patrons are expecting the library to carry. So having this tech lab will enable us to really promote those products.
The new expansion will also give adults greater opportunity to participate in literacy programs and create a setting in which families as a whole can come and create shared bonds through reading and learning.
We get a lot of families that come to the library, and we've really focused a lot of what we do around the family. We have a homework help where the kids can come in and get help with their homework, and parents can get help in learning how to work with their children to help make them more successful.
The library has changed a lot over the years, and the needs of the community are constantly changing. So this is an opportunity for the library to really focus on those needs. The technology center, the increased study areas where there will be outlets, a designated eating area, people expect to be able to eat in the library, so having a space just for that will be really wonderful. Better promoting our adult literacy services, that's really important.
The library is absolutely a leader for education, for children and for adults. The literacy programs that they provide are the cornerstone of giving children and adults what they need to be successful in life. Reading is the gateway to success. We all need to have it. And it's a gateway to adventure. When you can open up a book and learn about anything you want to learn about, you get inside the pages of the book and you're in a whole different world.
Thanks to the library renovations, the Santa Barbara community as a whole will be better able to utilize and enjoy this precious resource and reap the many benefits that come from it.
I'm most excited about the little reading nooks because I have a 1-year-old grandbaby, and I can't wait to take her down there and sit with the light coming in the windows and read a story to her. I think that'll be great fun.
I think that being in this new, inviting, light-filled space for the kids is going to inspire them. I used to beg my mom to take me to the library, and really that's my hope for the kids in the community, that they'll be tugging on their mom's sweater saying, please take me to the library.
So that Aurora wouldn't say,
For more information on the progress of the new Children's Library, check out their website at sbchildrenslibrary.org. We'll be right back with more Inside Santa Barbara.
Come on, man. You know that storm drain leads straight into our creeks and oceans. It's only a little of it. Just dump it. It only takes a little to pollute the water.
Besides, you want to swim in that? Swim in that? Swim in that?
Remember, the ocean begins on your street.
Welcome back. Here at City TV, we do a lot of stories about conserving water and improving creeks and ocean water quality. Up next, Vanessa Garnreiter shows us a few simple ways we can accomplish both at the same time.
Asphalt, concrete, Buildings. Ubiquitous and essential elements of our lives. They support us, protect us, and enable us to get from point A to point B more rapidly. But one of the strengths of all these essential elements, the impermeability, can also be a weakness when it comes to stormwater management and water quality. With nowhere to go, common pollutants like oil, fertilizers, and animal waste accumulate on these surfaces over time. Then when it rains,
those things wash off and go into the storm drains and out into the creeks, into the ocean, untreated. And so the more impermeable area you cover a city with, the more likely it is you're going to have high levels of water pollution in your creeks and in your beaches.
To get an idea of just how impermeable Santa Barbara is, take a look at this map. The red indicates impermeable surfaces like streets, sidewalks, and buildings, and as you can see, there's a lot of it.
Particularly in the downtown area of the city of Santa Barbara, we have places that reach over 95% impermeable surfaces covering all of the land area. As you move out into less developed areas of the city, that drops, but we still have citywide, over 40% of our entire land area is completely covered with impermeable surfaces.
Impermeable surfaces not only increase the amount of pollution getting into our creeks and ocean, they also increase runoff and decrease infiltration. During a drought like the one we're in now, the situation is amplified because when it does rain, so much valuable water literally goes down the drain. All of this is made even more poignant by new research that reveals drought may not be the new normal, it may just be the normal.
Going back into the past rainfall records, our collaborator Al Leidecker has found that 3 years of drought is not that unusual. But combined with increasing temperatures, the average temperature for Santa Barbara has increased in the last decade. And so when you get those higher temperatures with the low rainfall, we've had this very intense drought. And really, we need to start thinking about this area, Santa Barbara, the South Coast, as a very dry climate punctuated once in a while by wet years.
The drought has brought to the forefront the problems associated with so much impermeable surface. Experts say the solution lies in reducing runoff, slowing it down, and allowing it to percolate into the soil.
We call it infiltration or retention, and that provides water for plants during the season, that hopefully provides more stream flow to improve habitat during the summer conditions in the creeks, and also gets rid of the contaminants. So you're really doing three things at once by keeping as much rainfall as you can on your property.
To get a good idea of what retention and infiltration looks like, you don't have to go far. Right in the middle of town, there are three good examples. The Schott Center at 310 West Padre, the Spencer Adams Park Building at 1216 De La Vina, and the Association of Realtors headquarters at 1415 Chapala.
And this garden right here used to be a lawn. The lawn was removed, and the whole front of the area was really graded to look at where the water naturally percolates during a rainstorm and how we can capitalize on that. So swales and basins were really constructed throughout the whole garden to take the water from the roof and to percolate it down into the ground so that the plants around it can use it, and then also it can go deeper into the groundwater basin.
To get the water from the roof and into those swales and basins, the downspouts were redirected into the landscaping.
And this water will come down through here, through this cobble area, and percolate into this basin. And if this fills up, it's able to spread out over through the pathway and go into the second basin. And this whole swale area is able to fill up with the rainwater and have it slowly percolate down into the ground.
To take even further advantage of what little precipitation we get, rain barrels can be utilized.
Even when it's not raining, we see rain barrels filling up with fog that collects on people's roofs and what goes down their rain gutters and is able to fill those rain barrels.
And to increase that valuable contaminant cleansing infiltration, remove those impermeable surfaces where possible.
When you find yourself in a position of having to replace your driveway or a patio, if you can use permeable surfaces, there are many options. Permeable pavers are one option, but there are also permeable asphalt and permeable concrete. And for patios, you can use flagstone patio or broken rock patio. And then as long as you don't grout in between that, it creates an area where the water is able to soak down into the soil and into the ground and be treated and also replenish groundwater.
And to boost retention in that new driveway or patio, add layers of rock or gravel underneath. This technique can also help reduce flooding, a fact that has been borne out at Creeks Division projects like the one at McKenzie Park parking lot.
We replaced some of the asphalt in the parking areas with permeable pavers. That was a park where when we would have rainstorms, we would have flooding in the parking lot for a day or so afterwards, where there would just be a giant puddle. And once we installed the permeable surfaces in there, now all the water sinks down and is able to infiltrate down into the soil, and we haven't had any kind of flooding problems there.
The more we incorporate the simple techniques of retention and infiltration, the better our creek and ocean water quality will be, the more groundwater will be recharged, and the less red we'll see on that impermeability map the next time around. As for what color will replace it, the answer is clear.
For more information on stormwater management, visit sbcreeks.com. It's one of Santa Barbara's most cherished traditions. The Santa Barbara Arts and Crafts Show turned 50 this year, and producer Jeff Goodvin traversed the waterfront to talk with local artists and art buyers during this most important milestone.
Every Sunday, winding along Cabrillo Boulevard is one of the oldest and most prestigious non-juried arts and crafts shows in America. The inviting atmosphere lets people comfortably walk and look at fine arts and crafts while enjoying Santa Barbara's picturesque waterfront. The Santa Barbara Arts and Crafts Show began in 1965 in De La Guerra Plaza, where local artists displayed their paintings by laying them out on the ground. The art show's original concept was based on international sidewalk art shows that were becoming popular in Mexico City, much like the Jardin del Arte that started in 1950.
A group of artists, so there were about 12 of them, who had paintings in De La Guerra Plaza. Originally it was called the Domingo Show, and then in 1971 it moved down to the oceanfront area and changed its name to the Santa Barbara Arts and Crafts Show, inviting functional artists as well as fine artists.
Many of its members have been involved in the show for a number of years.
I think we have about 15 of members since the 1970s. We have a total of 55 members in the show that have been in at least 25 years.
It's what I've done strictly for 25 years, just the art show. And I love it down there. I just think it's a fabulous thing. I really do.
I came through here in 1966 and I loved the town and found out they were going to have an art show. And I had gotten accepted to UCSB in the art department, printing department. And I thought it might be a nice way to kind of help pay my tuition is to come here and try and sell my art.
There are 183 artists who show their original work on the waterfront from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every Sunday and Saturdays of major holiday weekends. This show is unique in that every artist lives in Santa Barbara County and personally produces each piece that is for sale.
You have to make what you sell yourself, can't have any help, and you cannot do assemblage.
The informal atmosphere is a perfect setting for visitors to talk with the artists about their work and in some cases, watch them work.
You're not talking to a salesperson, you're not talking to a staff person, you're talking to the actual person who created the item.
Gives you a chance to see works you might not see other places.
So if they're curious and they show some energy, I'm all over that.
A lot of times when you meet someone and they talk with you and you can have a conversation with them, it also makes you more apt to buy a piece that they've made because now you have a personal relationship with them.
The Art Walk is also a good place for artists to hone their business skills, learning what catches the public's eye and getting them to buy.
A lot of artists aren't necessarily good business people, but when you're participating in something like this, you really have to keep track of what you're selling and know what you need to make again, and as I said, pay attention to what people are looking at. So you do learn business.
I really didn't learn that much at the university, but I did learn a lot on the street because when you do something there, you get instant feedback.
There are several aspects that contribute to the show's longevity. For many patrons and artists, it's the social interaction that's special.
But I hear from a lot of residents that this is just part of their routine. On Saturdays, they like to get up, they like to, talk to the show members that are down there. They have their favorites that they stop and chat with.
For the public to be able to come down and have a free event right along the beach and know that they're not buying commercially made items is just so incredible.
For many of the artists, it's a creative and supportive community that makes the Art Walk special.
I've met different people every weekend, and I have to say every person I've met has been really welcoming.
And for one artist, it's a legacy that he shares with his daughter.
It's interesting because we're competing with each other, yet you want to see her do good, So it's an interesting mix. We each have a different take on things, basically. Doesn't really, it's not a real problem. It's fun to see what she does.
The Art Walk is also a great place to become inspired and learn. Future artists of all ages can get valuable insight to what it takes to create and sell art.
There's just a lot of things that they could get exposed to on a weekend that would help them maybe in a later career.
After half a century, the longevity of the Santa Barbara Arts and Crafts Show is a testament to our vibrant arts community and is one more example of something that makes our city a special place to live.
It provides an affordable outlet for people to shop, and it's a micro business for these 183 members that are in the show.
This is a wonderful opportunity for visitors and the city to really get to know the people in the area who are creative and producing some wonderful things.
To learn more about the Arts and Crafts Show, visit santabarbaraca.gov/artsandcrafts. Well, that does it for this episode of Inside Santa Barbara. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can give us a call at 564-5311. You can also watch the show online at santabarbaraca.gov/citytv. I'm your host, Becky Davis, and remember to get involved inside Santa Barbara.
That's it. Show that weed who's boss. You know you could just pull it. But it's so much easier to spray it with poison and kill it. But the poison will run into our storm drains, creeks, and ocean. Do you want to swim in that? Swim in that? Swim in that?
Remember, the ocean begins on your street.
Come on, man. You know that storm drain leads straight into our creeks and ocean. It's only a little of it. Just dump it. It only takes a little to pollute the water.
Besides, you want to swim in that? Swim in that? Swim in that?
Remember, the ocean begins on your street.